Alright, so the purpose of this video is to help you solve problems 25, 28, and 31 on worksheet 11C, day 1. We are going to start out with problem number 25, where we were given one length inside this regular polygon in order to find both its perimeter and its area. So, I know eventually to get area, I'm going to be using this formula, perimeter times apothem divided by 2. So in order to get to my final goal of area, I will also need the apothem along with the perimeter in order to get the area. So taking a look at the picture, I know right here this length, this 4, is my apothem. So I'm just going to put a 4 right there. And then I also know that I will need this little length right here, so I'm just going to put an X on it, because getting that length will help me get the entire side length. And then if I have the whole side length, I can use it to get the entire perimeter of the triangle. So I'm just going to get rid of that, and our goal is now to get X. So to help me get X, I'm going to use a central angle. If I take 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 3, I can find out that there is a 120-degree angle that goes from here over to here. And I only want this much of it. So if I take that 120 and divide it by 2, I can find out that inside this triangle, this is a 60-degree angle. Using that angle, I can do trig to find the length of X, which will help me get the perimeter. So now we're going to do trig. In that little right triangle, I know X is the opposite side, and 4 is the adjacent side. So to find X, I'm going to pick tangent. So I'm going to go tangent of 60 equals opposite over adjacent. If I put that over 1 and now solve for X, I know to get X, I will take 4 times the tangent of 60. So for this problem, X is going to be 6.9. So now that I know that this is 6.9, doubling it would give me the entire length. So the entire length would be 13.8. So if the entire length is 13.8, I can take 13.8 times 3 to get the perimeter. So my perimeter is going to be 13.8 times 3, which ends up being 55.2. So 55.2 for my perimeter. So at this point, I have everything I need to calculate the area. So my area is going to be 55.2 times the apothem, which was 4, then divided by 2, which will give me a total area of 110.4. So I now have my area and I have my perimeter. Alright, let's try problem number 28. Problem 28 is a little bit different. This time around I was not given the apothem, so I'm going to have to do some work to get it. I was also not given the perimeter, so I'm just going to start out with a list, and just like the last problem, I'm going to find this little length right here first. So to get that length, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say central angle. If I take 360 divided by 6 this time, I find out that the central angle, this one, is 60 degrees, and I only want half of it, so that's going to make that angle 30 degrees. Oh, I hear my fan just kicked on, so now it's going to sound like a helicopter. Sorry about that. That's my computer. Okay, going back to where I was, this angle right here, 30 degrees, because it's half of that central angle. Using this now, I can get X. So right now X is my opposite, 12 is my hypotenuse. So solving for X this time, I'm going to have to go with sine. So if I do sine of 30 equals opposite over hypotenuse, put that over 1, I now know X is going to be 12 times the sine of 30, which ends up being exactly 6. Which should make sense because if you take a look, this is really a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And we talked about that if you know the hypotenuse, you can just divide it by 2 to get the small leg. So we could also use that shortcut. So either way you do it, we just found out that this little length right here is 6, which means the entire side would be 6 times 2 at 12, which means my perimeter would be 12 times all 6 sides for a perimeter of 72. Alright, perimeter done. Now I need the apothem. So one way to get the apothem, which is this length right here, is I could do Pythagorean theorem. Since I know two sides on my right triangle, you could use Pythagorean theorem. You could also use the shortcut with the square root of 3, or you could do trig again. Either way you do it, you're going to find out your apothem is 10.4. So now I have everything I need to calculate area. So I'm going to take perimeter times apothem, then divided by 2, which means my area will be 374.4. So I have my area and I have my perimeter. Okay, last problem. Problem number 31. 31, I know so this is another version of it. I know different things to start with again. So I'm just going to start out by first knowing that I have to get my apothem. I'm going to actually draw in my apothem. You can draw it to any one of the 5 sides. I just prefer drawing it straight down. So there's my apothem. I need to know how long it is. And also at this moment, I'm going to draw in the radius because then I have my right triangle I can work with. Since this side up here is 12, I know this is 12, which means this little length will have to be 6. So using that 6 and getting another number from the central angle, which I can do by 360 divided by 5 sides, which makes my central angle right here 72. Keeping only half of that angle, just this part right here, I now know that that angle is 36 degrees. So using that angle and the opposite side over here, I can find my apothem. So 6 is the opposite. The apothem is the adjacent. So to find that apothem, I'm going to use tangent. Tangent of 36 will equal 6 over the apothem. Put that over 1. This time around, though, to get the apothem, I'm going to have to divide. So 6 divided by tan of 36. This will give me an apothem of 8.3. So if I go back up to what I was looking for, currently I know the apothem, 8.3. The perimeter I can get because one side is 12, so if I take 12 times all 5 sides, I find out that my perimeter for this one is going to be 60. So I have everything I need for area. I'm going to take that 60, multiply it by 8.3, divide by 2 for a final area of 249. I now have my area and the perimeter I was looking for, and so now I'm done. Zoom out really quick so you can see all the problems. There they are. So hopefully this helps you out as you try some of those other ones and keep going forward.